thank everyone for joining us today. We've got some great things to cover right from the desk of the Levinson Annuity Department. We do have a special guest speaker on the call with us today, and that is Matt Stiles, who is the Senior Annuity Sales Consultant at Equitrust. So I want to thank Matt for joining us. I know it's a Friday afternoon, so we're going to actually go ahead and dive right into the presentation. I've got a couple slides here where I'm going to go over some great annuity material. The first of which I think all agents will find useful, is we actually just rolled out a discounted E&O plan for all Levinson agents. It's exclusive to Levinson agents. The annual cost is $395 for the policy. It actually comes with some neat bells and whistles that most E&O policies don't. One thing I really like about the plan is that it covers B+ or better rated carriers, whether you're writing life insurance, annuity products, even some long-term care, critical illness, DI products. It's going to cover all those B+ or rated carriers. We will actually send out an email this afternoon with the link, not only for today's recording of the webinar, but also the material we cover and the link to actually run a quote. You can even apply for this policy and actually print your policy certificate in real time right through the website portal that we'll actually email out. So that's definitely a great plan, especially if you're paying for a policy now that's $400, $500. You can save a little bit of money and also get some great coverage, some great bells and whistles that typically aren't on most E&O plans. Also, briefly here, I want to mention some of our upcoming training webinars. We do have some great webinars actually right on carrielevinson.com. You'll see on the right-hand side we have our YouTube channel. We have over 100 different on-demand videos, and in fact, just last month we hit the 10,000 view limit on the YouTube channel. So a lot of great material. You can watch those in real time. We'll send out that link in that same email that you received this afternoon. Upcoming for next week on Wednesday, which is the 11th at noon, we're covering Sagicor Life's Accelerating Program, which is an accelerated underwriting program for their life products, basically getting clients approved the same day that they apply for coverage with a quick telephone interview, which actually incorporates voice signature. So a great process to use some simplified issue life products. And then Thursday, which is the 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern, we're actually covering a Surety Life critical illness product, just a great standalone CI product, especially for this time of year. Using this product to cross-sell to maybe some health clients or other type of clients, you can actually use a simplified issue version of that CI product. Really great CI product to use. They've got some great material for consumers as well. Of course, you can register for any one of these training webinars on carrielevinson.com. We also have a training calendar where you can look at all the upcoming webinars for about the next 3 to 4 months. On the bottom of the screen, you'll notice that we've actually rolled out the date for our 2016 Levinson Expo. This is the 9th year that we're actually hosting an annual agent expo. It is April 8th, which is a Friday of 2016. And this is basically a day full of sales ideas, concepts. You'll actually be able to meet a lot of great carrier underwriters, a lot of great marketing team people, really get some great ideas to actually help you grow your business as soon as the very next day. You'll see it's right on the beach in sunny South Florida, which is not a bad time to be at the beginning of April. We do have a contest that is also tied into the Levinson Expo. So if you're not a local agent, for just $15,000 of paid premium, you can actually get a free night stay at that beachfront resort. And then the other levels start at $40,000, where we actually pay for round-trip airfare from anywhere in the U.S. So a great day to come down and meet the Levinson team. Also get some great sales ideas and concepts. We'll also be sending out that invitation link so you can register, save your seat for that April 8th date. And again, it is free for all agents to attend. There is no premium requirement to attend, but if you want to get the free night stay or round-trip airfare, you do have to meet those certain requirements. Some great Levinson annuity incentives at the top. You'll see the tablet coupon. If you've never written an annuity with our office and you actually send in this coupon with your first annuity case, as soon as that policy goes in force and that free look period is satisfied, we will send you a 16-gig tablet. This is a great contest we've been running for about a year now. We'll actually email this coupon out again in that same email that you'll receive this afternoon. Also, on the bottom, this is brand new just for today's attendees. We put together a special incentive to write annuity business with our office. Basically, write in place any Equitrust index annuity product, even products that we're not covering today, and you'll actually receive 15 free leads through our exclusive mortgage lead vendor. We've been using that lead program for about 3+ years now. one of the best lead programs that we've ever had the pleasure of working with. You'll see some of the details in the bottom. We'll also send out the details for that contest. So basically, again, any index annuity with Equitrust in about the next 4 to 5 weeks, when you send that in, that policy goes in force, you'll receive those free leads the following week. So a great way to kind of introduce writing annuities with the Levinson office. Also, the annuity agent site we have available on carrielevinson.com is constantly being updated. You'll see at the top of the page here, underneath the marketing tab, I've actually circled Levinson Annuity. That's where you can go to pull all quotes, all annuity training material. You'll see we have the full portfolio listed there, financial calculators. We also have some great training videos. Also, our in-house annuity specialist is Josh Hoffman. He is at extension 23 in our office. Any questions that you have about annuity products, maybe some marketing ideas, some ways to generate annuity leads, definitely reach out to Josh. He is one of the best experts on annuity products that I've ever met. Any question that you have or any type of case design or anything that you need, Josh is your go-to guy. Again, extension 23 right here at the office. You will receive an email this afternoon with Josh's direct contact information. One thing I do want to mention before I turn the controls over to Matt, we do have a great annuity quote engine on carrielevinson.com right underneath our quote tab. You'll actually be able to go in and look through some advanced search criteria, view all index annuity products, all single premium, fixed annuity products, so you can really get a good gauge of which products are most competitive. And again, if you do have a scenario where you're not sure what the best product is, maybe you don't have time to look through all the different brochures, all the different current rates, give Josh a call. Again, he's at extension 23. I've listed his email on this page. Again, you'll receive that this afternoon in the email that we send out. But Josh is really your go-to expert. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Matt Stiles, again, who's the Senior Annuity Sales Consultant at Equitrust. I want to thank Matt for taking time on a Friday afternoon to join us. Matt, if you can hear me okay and we can see your screen, we're all set to go.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Joe. And I want to thank everybody for taking the time out on a Friday afternoon to join us. Yeah, Levinson's been a really great partner with us, and we're excited to be able to present today. I'm going to be talking about our newest product, the Dynamark Indexed Annuity, and go into detail on that. We do have, obviously, 6 or 7 other great index products, depending on the state you're in. So I'm going to be focusing on our new product today, but you know, if you're looking for something else, maybe a bonus on the account value side, that type of thing, we have products for that too, so I want to mention that. But getting started this morning, or this afternoon, I'm sorry, on the Dynamark Indexed Annuity, like I said, it's our newest product. We've had it out about 3 months now. It's really been taken well by the field. It's obviously growing quickly for us, and we really think we've really hit a niche that's out there. The newest thing in this industry is these volatility control index strategies. So we looked at one starting about 9 months ago and developing this. We decided to partner with Goldman Sachs to create our volatility control strategy, and we've named it the Dynamo Strategy Index. So the product itself, the Dynamark, it's a 10-year index, 10-year walk away. You've got 5 strategies, your fixed bucket. There's 2 strategies based off the S&P. We got some competitive caps on that I'll show you. But then we have the 2 new strategies that are the volatility control, the Dynamo strategies, and I'll touch base on that. And actually the first part of this, the first 8 to 10 slides, I'm really going to kind of focus on how those things work on the new volatility control strategy, because that's what's new on this product. First off, on the name, the Dynamark. I wasn't sure about it at first, but when I got it explained to me, MARC actually stands for multi-asset risk controlled, so it stands for something on there. Why use a volatility control product with your index? It's basically for those clients that want greater stability of index credits, and I'll kind of explain why and how that works. But really, the client would forego instances of a great 1-year return, like on an index if you had, say if you were lucky enough to get into one with uncapped potential on an index. You're not going to get that on this, because the volatility control is going to kind of limit that upside a little bit. But the big thing is it's going to also limit the downside risk for returns, and I'll give some examples of that too. So more steady returns is what the goal of this is on this particular strategy. And isn't that what everybody who's approaching retirement or in retirement looking for, is exceptional returns, without the risk, and that's what we hope we've developed here. Like I said, it's customized exclusively for Equitrust. We sat down with several different players in the industry that would create this type of thing for us, and we thought Goldman Sachs had the best layout, the easiest to understand for us, easiest to control some of the cost options, that sort of thing. So we've really priced this for the long term for clients. So I can sit there and tell you now how well it's going to do, but really the proof is going to be when these clients are getting their statements 5, 6, 8, 10 years down the road, and they're seeing the type of returns they're able to get, is the ultimate goal of this. What it is, the Dynamo strategy, and it's combined several asset classes basically to create this index. You got equity, you got your fixed income, commodity, real estate, cash, and then there's also a risk control feature. And I'll touch base a little more on how that works. But the index itself, it applies 2 principles. And I'm going to show a video that we put together at the very end of this, and it does a lot better job of explaining this than I do. But I'm just going to kind of simplify it here and read this. The modern portfolio theory seeks to maximize returns for a given level of risk by systematically allocating across a diverse set of asset classes. So basically that's what we're doing with the 5 asset classes. We're looking to maximize the returns from those, but also controlling the risk. So, and then it has momentum-based investing, and what that means in simple terms is it's automatically, there's nobody making decisions at a desk on where the money is going to go each month or whatever. It's all rules-based. But what it does is it looks back over the last 6 months and says, geez, you know, the commodities are outperforming better, we're going to put a little more into there. It automatically weighs all these different options and decides for the month how the portfolio is going to look. That's done each and every month automatically. During the course of the month, if something were to change, something fluctuates over a 5.5%, you know, it's up and down, one of the strategies, then it automatically moves more money into cash to stabilize it a little bit. So that's kind of how the volatility index works, the best that I can explain it here from this. The process of how that's done, again, there's 5 asset classes that the index is spread out between. You got your traditional equities. That's kind of like the S&P 500, the U.S. equities. We go international with that too on this, so it takes a look at all those. Bonds, U.S. bonds, European bonds, commodities, all the global commodities. So you're really getting a big picture on this as far as potential returns. Real estate's there also, and cash. Only a certain percentage can go into each one to kind of keep it nice and balanced also. And obviously, it's potential for more favorable risk-adjusted returns, as it says here. This is a slide, it's a lot of colors here, but the one thing I like to look at here, it's 10-year look back on if we would have had this in place 10 years ago, basically all the components were there 10 years ago. If we would have rolled this out 10 years ago, here's how it would have reallocated in each strategy on a monthly basis. The big thing to look at there is in 2009, a lot of it obviously in the money market position, and some bonds were still having some returns. You're completely out of real estate. You're completely out of you know, the commodities in late 2009. As you guys know what the economy was like then. If we would have had this in place, a client in this product on a 1 year would have got a 2.5% return. Show me an index in 2009 that had any sort of return. So that's kind of bottom line. Why would I put my money into this? More stable returns. This kind of shows how it would have been allocated if we would have had this product 10 years ago. Dynamic rebalancing, I've kind of touched base on that, what it does monthly. It uses historical data to capture which strategies it's going to go into. It's all done automatically, you know, so that's done with Goldman Sachs to supply us with all that information. The volatility control, that's what helps generate the stable, smooth returns over time. So we basically have a 5% volatility target. So each month, if some of these strategies are too volatile, we're going to move a little less money out of that. And then even on a daily basis, we can move money. It would automatically done based on rules, but more money could go into a cash position if needed. This obviously reduces the magnitude of the upswings and the downswings. What one of my coworkers likes to say is, you're going to get rid of a few of the home runs, you know, from year to year, but we're getting rid of a lot of the strikeouts too. So to put it in simple terms, that's what the goal of these strategies we've created to do. Real quickly on this, if you were to put the S&P over top of this, you would see up, down, what, you know, this is showing what the Dynamark, if you're in the Dynamo strategy, the blue line is actually what the Dynamo strategy would have done if we would have had it 10 years ago, exactly what it would have done. And then the yellow is if you're in the 2-year strategy, and the other one is, I'm not real good with colors, whatever color that is the 1 year, what the client would have actually returned. Here's a better piece. It just tells you the percentages, what it's done. Keep in mind, when we talked with Goldman Sachs, they asked us, hey, do you want this to look really good for back testing? You know, kind of, we said, no, we don't. Back testing's great. We want it to perform going forward. So we got some good back tested results here, but we didn't structure the product in the way it's laid out for that. We designed it for the clients going forward. But you can see here, our 1-year account, which has a 75% participation, there's no spread, no cap, that shows the growth on the far left, the 1 year, and then actually what the client would have returned on the 75% par. You do see a couple zeros in there, but with any S&P, you're going to get zeros too. We're hoping to avoid, you know, you might get 1 or 2 hopefully every 10 years instead of 3, 4. But anyway, the 2-year obviously has really done well. What I've talked to agents about and what they've kind of liked when they've really dove in and looked at this, put half your client in the first year in the 1 year and half in the 2 year, and then you can reallocate the 1 year after the first year and put it into a separate 2-year bucket. So you have alternating 2-year buckets. That way the client's seeing some potential returns every year, and it can really maximize the growth on this product. So that's just kind of a thing that agents have, we've seen that coming in already on the policies that we've already sold. Here are the current cap rates, fixed bucket. Then the Dynamo strategy is obviously the one I've been talking about here. 75% par on the 1 year. Again, as I mentioned, no cap, no spread. The 2 years at 100%. So we're taking the starting Dynamo value, we're taking it 2 years later, whatever the gain is, the client's getting to their account. We have great illustration software for this product, now available on this Dynamark product where they can show RMDs, they can show the income rider. But here's the illustrated rate on that far right column of what we're illustrating these strategies at. And then we have the S&P too, pretty competitive cap rates out there if they want to go into the S&P, you know, portion the money or, you know, reallocate whatever they want to do. If they got RMDs coming out, you know, they could put some of it in the fixed so they don't, and then they can specify they want the RMDs coming out of that account. That way they can have the full value of whatever money they're going into the 2 year can participate into that. So just another idea as an agent you can outlay for your client there. One thing I want to mention with no spread, because there's similar competition, I saw one with about a 2.5% spread. So yeah, if the strategy does 15% return, I want the 2.5% spread. But let's say they do 6 on a 1 year. 75% participation, we're giving that client 4.5. If they have 6 and they have a 2.5 spread, you guys can do the math. That's a 3.5% return. Let's say the strategy returns 4, we're giving 3. If they have a 2.5 spread, the client's getting 1.5 on the competition. So just, I really think the participation rate in most markets and most environments is going to outperform a spread, all things being equal. A few basic things on the product itself, and then I'm going to talk about the income rider that's specific to this. 10-year surrender schedule, as I mentioned, we'll take $10,000 minimum up to $1 million maximum on a single premium. Issue age is 0 to 80. There's no commission break. Obviously, for younger clients, this might not be the best fit, but we do have it all the way down to 0 for that. But 80-year-old has no commission break for the agent too, which is nice. Pretty standard 10% penalty free. Has a nursing home provision. Basically on the contract, it's pretty simple. Basically, if they go into a nursing home, they can get their full account value without penalty. So it just waives any remaining surrender charges are waived if they go into a nursing home. 7% street level commission. And then we have an income rider that we specifically designed for this product. And as we roll out products in the future, we'll probably have a similar income rider. But we call it our strategic income option. And I want to kind of somewhat quickly touch base on how that works. It is only available on this particular product with us right now. It has a stackable design. So some other carriers in the industry have used that stackable design term, and some of you might be familiar with that. we're going to give a 10% bonus into the income rider right away, and then they're getting a 4% fixed, roll-up, as it's called a lot of times, a 4% guaranteed roll-up plus whatever the index or interest credits get. So let's say they're in the 1 year and the dynamo and it returns 5. You guys can do the math. 4 plus the 5, they're getting a 9% roll-up that year. So if they give us 100,000, they're getting 110 on the income rider right away, and then another 9% on that 110 at the end of the year. So you can really see there's some great potential on this income rider, and I'll give you an illustration. I'll show you that here in a moment. Minimum age to turn it on is 50. Obviously, you got to watch out for the under 59.5 with the IRS. The rider fee, 95 basis points. That's only calculated off the accumulation value, though. I've seen some of our competition do it off the income rider value, and over the course of a contract, that can mean a lot more fees for the client. So ours is based strictly off of the account value each year at 95 basis points. Fairly standard on the income withdrawal percentages. One thing different about this is each year it goes up by 0.1%. So basically a 71-year-old that turns it on single life, the 5.25 plus the 71, they'd get 5.35. So pretty straightforward there. One thing I want to mention that is unique to us that I found is we allow a joint life payout even on qualified money. A lot of our competition does not allow that. So when they go to turn it on, the spouse can be listed there as a joint payee on the income rider, and we would allow that. Another thing, inherited IRAs, you can add an income rider. You can add this income rider or any of our income riders to inherited IRAs. I think we're one of just a few companies in the industry that allow that. They're going to have to take their RMDs or whatever like an inherited IRA would, but ultimately they could maybe lock in a better lifetime payout with an income rider on this too. So one thing I just kind of want to mention where we stand out too on income riders. This is the Dynamark on a guaranteed basis. So this is basically just with the 4% roll-up. So I just want to show that first of all. Obviously a lot of competition can beat that because the roll-up is better. But this is showing a 55-year-old waiting 10 years to turn it on. What I want to get to though is, and we can show is the non-guaranteed, which at a 55 waiting 10 years to turn it on 100,000, 11,553. That's going to be one of the most competitive payouts in the industry. And you say, well, this isn't guaranteed. But if we would have had this product exactly 10 years ago, this client bought this at 55 10 years ago, this is exactly what they would have gotten. All things being equal with what the market's done over the last 10 years, this is what the client would have got. So if you're comparing other income riders in the industry, you'll find that this one has outperformed pretty much whatever's out there. Your guarantees aren't as good, but with the stability and growth of what we're hoping the product's going to be, you can kind of assure your client they're going to get a nice income rider return there. Just a few more things, and I'm going to pop in that short. It's like a 3-minute video is all, but I think I want to show it because it does a great job of just kind of explaining this product. We are working to eventually get that video client approved. Right now it's just agent approved just because it's got to go through the process. But a few things on our advantages of what we feel this volatility index. Obviously those risk-adjusted returns, we're hoping for those steady returns. Though modest in some years on the participation rate account, if you only get a 2% return and then you got a participation rate, but it's going to provide steadier compounding index credits. I kind of touch base on that. But then also I think our income rider, I think it's going to be unique. We already had a lot of compliments from agents when they've really dove in and looked at how our income rider potentially could work for their client. Had some great feedback on that. So that's some advantages that we feel this product offers. Want to talk about the resources we have available. Our website, a lot of this stuff, basically all you need is an agent number to get into any of this stuff. So I think it's agent friendly, I feel. Just use your agent number to get in there. We have the brochure, obviously, but we have historical flyers. We have the web-based illustration software that we're excited about, where we can show basically whatever you want to show. Additional premiums. I don't know if I mentioned this is a flexible premium, the Dynamark. So you can show them adding money for 10 years and then triggering the income rider. Could really be a great fit there too. We got some nice client-approved flyers, print ads, mailers, you want to run a local ad in the paper for any of our products, we got some great sources on the website for that. Goldman Sachs has a piece that if you're an agent or if you have a client that really wants to look into, hey, what am I getting into here with this Dynamo strategy? Have them visit that website, solactive.com, and then the ticker symbol is GS Dynamo 5, Goldman Sachs 5, and it really gives you a breakdown every month of what they're using, how it's getting calculated. Does a great job of showing that. One thing I want to mention before I show the video here, training is required if for this product and basically any of our annuity products. We got, if it has one whole training video covers all of our annuity products, or if you've sold us in the past and you just have to do the Dynamark training, there's about a 15-minute easy to go through, no test, but that training is required before you sell an app. So get that done. You know, our licensing department hates calling out to an agent and says, hey, you need a new app because you haven't done the training yet. So please avoid that if at all possible. Let me pop that video up real quick here. Hopefully this works for everybody. I think it does a great, simple job of explaining the Dynamark strategy here.
Every customer is unique, and many are looking for retirement solutions that provide a little more stability when things get bumpy. For years, index annuity owners enjoyed the income tax-deferred accumulation potential of index-linked returns and the peace of mind of protection when the index declines. While the S&P 500 serves the long-term horizons of many index annuity owners, isn't it time for an alternative index annuity with less volatility? Well, the time is now. Equitrust Life Insurance Company presents the exciting new Dynamark Index Annuity, featuring a multi-asset risk-controlled index that provides asset class diversification, dynamic rebalancing, and volatility control. What is this innovative index? Introducing the Goldman Sachs Dynamo Strategy Index, customized exclusively for Equitrust. The goal of the Dynamo Strategy Index is to deliver higher risk-adjusted returns subject to a targeted level of volatility. The index is made up of much more than stocks. It is comprised of a variety of asset classes, like equities, both foreign and domestic, bonds from the U.S. and Europe, global commodities, domestic and European real estate, and cash. Spreading risk across different asset classes and global regions provides the potential for more stable, consistent performance. Each month, the index analyzes a variety of potential portfolios, subject to a maximum weight for each component and a 6-month historical volatility no greater than 5%. Of these potential portfolios, the index selects the portfolio for the next month that would have the highest 6-month historical return, systematically allocating more to past outperformers and less to past underperformers is known as momentum-based investing. For example, if over the past 6 months commodities and European real estate are trending upward, the index may increase the allocation to these components. And if U.S. stocks and European bonds have been declining, it may reduce or reposition those allocations into more stable components or even cash. It is important to note, however, that the component volatilities and correlations also influence the monthly portfolio allocation. Additionally, the index has a volatility control feature. Volatility control is like an alarm system that sounds a warning when volatility is moving beyond acceptable levels. Every day, the 1-month realized volatility of the monthly rebalancing portfolio is measured. If that volatility exceeds 5.5%, it reallocates a portion of the index into cash to bring the volatility back in line. What does this multi-asset, risk-controlled index strategy look like in terms of results? Here's an example of the S&P performance over a 10-year period. Now, here's the Dynamo Index showing hypothetical back-tested results which assume the application of the index's methodology. While the index did not exist during this time period, either the component itself or the underlying constituents of the component did. The result for your customer is the potential for higher risk-adjusted returns available from a risk-controlled mix of asset classes. Dynamark Index Annuity, featuring the Goldman Sachs Dynamo Strategy Index. The strategy is in the name, multi-asset, risk controlled. Learn more about this exciting new annuity and the innovative Dynamo Strategy Index. Talk to your marketer today. Visit agent.equitrust.com. Help your clients hit their mark. Dynamark Index.
All right, so I think that does a good job of really kind of simply explaining that. So hopefully you guys are able to see and hear that pretty well. But so I want to wrap it up today with our trip. I don't know why it started over here at the beginning, but we just announced this week also an agent incentive trip, and here it is. But we're taking our top 30 agents qualification period from now until the end of April. So something as an agent, if you're looking to focus on Equitrust products, this includes any of our products. Any of the annuity products we offer would count towards this. And we're going to take our top 30 agents. It's really going to be a nice trip. 2 days at the Fairmont Banff Springs. This beautiful, we got more information on it. And then I think it's 2 or 3 days at Chateau Lake Louise up there north of Calgary. Really beautiful. And it's going to be basically a nice relaxing trip for agents and a guest. So want to wrap it up mentioning that today. And again, any of our products qualify. So thanks for taking the time to join us. And I guess I'll throw it back to Joe if there's anything else. But thank you, everybody. Here's Levinson Associates' number if you need to get a hold of them. And I appreciate you guys taking the time with me today.
Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate it. Again, any questions anyone has, please feel free to reach out to our office. Again, Josh Hoffman is at extension 23. Again, Matt, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking the time. And as usual, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out. If not, good selling and have a great weekend. Thank you all for attending. Take care.